Okay, hopefully now we have something that works. Right, looks good. We're not dropping frames anymore. So I think you can start. Hello everyone, welcome to another day. Day 20, I think. Is amazing. It's almost a month of work on game engine in Go, and I should say, it's been amazing progress. So I think we will continue Flappy Bird. But first, I do want to we'll let that compile. Did I do something sassy? Oh, just some to-dos. Well, let's run it. So while Flappy is running, cold start might take a while. Okay, that was fast. So Mr. Flappy. So things are looking good. And we have our collisions and the text, which looks ugly. While working on another project, I might showcase some other time when it's a bit more complete. I did find a few things, and I think it would make sense to work on them in nMage itself. Let me zoom in before going back to Flappy Bird. So these are the ones, and sounds, by the way, are almost done, very close to being done. And then we have these things, right? So I'll actually take them. Let's go to nMage. Sorry, nMage. And let's add some to-dos. So one thing, let's see, I just wanted to confirm is FPS. We did add a function that time to essentially display FPS. It wasn't working when I tested. So we can, I guess, go to like game.window, window set title, and let's just set it to so in timing we have get average FPS. Does this give us anything? Let's see. That's actually looks accurate. Yeah, that's around my refresh rate of my monitor. I don't know. In the other project, it was not working properly at all. So that's definitely something I guess I'll investigate later. Okay, so one thing is if you forget to init the engine, then you get very weird errors, as you might expect. So I wanted to add checks in some places that the engine is actually initted, some asserts perhaps. So in nMage, in our init, where is nMage? Engine. engine. So we have our init function. Now what we can do very simply, let's have vars initted or is initted, well, sure, equals false, right? And then once we do that, I guess, yeah, I leave error handling them. So is initted is true. And then so if you call some of these functions, we should return an error if it's not initted. So anything else here we can assert. No need to have it at runtime. We can assert that is initted, right? Engine is not. We'll do engine.init was not called. please. Yeah, I guess that's enough. So what other things do we have? Maybe even this, honestly. Yeah. So just checking in these two places, I think is enough. Because the first thing you'll do is probably create a window, and we just want to make sure that if you do, we actually check that. So yeah, we are asserting that the engine is initted. What else do we have? So these are mostly small things, I guess. This is not, it's not complicated, but it's not. So in some cases, we want videos. We'll talk about them in a bit. So let's move this down. This also, yeah. So this is one thing that we can really improve. Is right now our interface is just too much. If you want to start making a game with nMage, you need a lot of functions. You need all of these. All of these. Way too much. Init and start, we might just keep one. I don't remember. But frame start we definitely don't need. Because you have update. The beginning of your update is your frame start. So at the very least, let's remove for now frame start. Frame end can be useful because then you know rendering is done. When you're rendering, we did not swap buffers, anything still, but by that time, we call frame end only after render is called, and then after the swap happens, right? So at the very, very end. So I think this one makes sense. This we don't need anymore. Let's see. Frame starts for UI. It's okay. Even init and start, I think, is mainly for I'm GUI. Or allowed in init. So what do we do in init? We don't use start here. Yeah, we do all of these things. We do init, we run I'm GUI, and then we start render. Yeah, I'm not sure. We have I'm GUI here. Init, no. Well, I guess okay, aside from this, so we have update, render. These two we definitely need. Frame end, useful. And then should run. I mean, here, instead of requiring an additional function, maybe we have a function you can call to stop, like engine.stop or something. If we assume that we always have one engine, one game running, then should run was not needed. I'm not sure. All of these, honestly, like get window, get I'm GUI, like why are these functions? We can just pass them when we run. So all of these, I guess we can remove. Let's start with these. So let's ask for, give us the game object, the window, and I'm GUI, I think later on we will remove. Or we integrate in a better way, so it's not tied to actually starting your game. UI. right? Then that's it, and then we don't need these anymore. Get I'm GUI, get window. Lot nicer. What do you want? Oh yeah. So now we can just do window and game dots GUI. And that's it. No. Window. There we go. Finish. Right. You can maybe you just get rid of start, just have init and dinit, maybe. Dinit, I think I like it like this. Dinit with an I, and then in our game we can just come in and do this, right? So that's our interface. Let's try getting rid of start. Init, one-time thing, update render, so on. Then should run. Maybe. I mean, let's make a function. And we say quit, and maybe you give us a game. We say quit that. Just in case we have multiple games that run. I don't think so. Actually, no, I don't like this. Let's just do quit, and we can have should or is running. So we have is running true, and then on quits is running is false, and then here for is running, and that is gone. Should run. No, bye. Should run. Gone. No more. I think that's about it. Init, no more start. So a lot simpler, just 5 functions. That's it. Yeah, I mean, so we can do is running false, is running true. Just to be careful. And then let's run nMage. Cool. Everything looking good. We have our lights and everything. Nice. I'm GUI seems to be doing okay as well. That's it. Unless, you know, we find something that we need. It's not responding to clicks because it's quit g.quitting. Okay. So that's not how we quit anymore. That is not. So if we want to quit, we just say g dot engine dot quit. That's it. Nice. So that's about it. So this goes away now. Right, this. Right. So another thing is running, like how we have multiple variables for the same thing here. Okay. just maybe push these. Oops. Is knitted. Right. So now we can do first push of the day is simplify the game interface. I just want to make nMage as easy as possible to use. Maybe even remove completely, you sending an interface. Maybe you just register some functions that you want to run. That's about it. If you don't want to start an it, you just want to update. Sure, I guess. Maybe. But yeah, this is a good start, definitely. That's one thing. Now, another thing is in our textures. So if we go to assets and textures, couple things. One is bitmaps. I don't think this should be the job of the loader. Maybe some defaults here, sure. We'll do like linear filtering, so on. But you might not want bitmap. So why are we generating every single time? If you want, you can just set this and set this. So I think remove this one. That's one. Another thing is, what if you want to load the PNG? Let's say the file on disk changed and you want to force a reload. It's the same file, like the same name, but the file changed. And so the cache is no longer valid. So we want a way to clear cache. There are multiple ways we can go about this. We can have a clear cache, but doesn't sound very clean to me. We can have a function that's like no cache, but thing is, there might be other options that you want to do. So I'm thinking perhaps we pass an optional value for options, and we say, well, here are the options I want to load my texture with. Should we cache? Should we ignore cache? Maybe you want to cache, but you want to ignore something's already there, etc. So maybe let's do like texture load options or options, right? And here, here, load options, right? We just do something like this. And then what options do we want? Use load from cache. We just say use cache, right? That's a bool. Try load from cache. Just want to make it very clear. So this is if we want to attempt loading from cache. And this one is we want to say write to cache. Well, any ideas, people? Have anything? Chat. Okay. So I want to make this kind of useful by defaults, maybe. Because try load from cache. Don't load, like we kind of, so the default value gives us the normal behavior. I would assume the normal behavior is you want to cache. Maybe. Actually, no, let's keep it simple. Try load from cache. write to cache. And yeah, I think for now that's it. Oh, we can use map maps. Gen map maps. Sure, can do that. So in here, we can say, well, if load options equals null, load options, we can just do some defaults. And by default, we can say try load from cache, write to cache. Actually, I'll keep them off by default. Now in here, we can say if load options dot try load from cache, then we can try this, right? What else we have? Set texture is such a bad add texture to cache. Good names, people. Get texture from cache, something like that. Get texture path from cache by path, and this thing from cache ID, right? Something like that. And if load options dot write cache, we can do this, and we can say, well, if load options dot generate map maps SDL gen map. Wait, it was generate map map. Well, which texture object? It's texture.texture ID. Right. That's it. So this, I think, is very cool. That's about what we need, and makes it easy to use here. So when you load, you don't want anything, you just want the expected behavior. So we make map maps and cache opt-in essentially. So you don't get like, oh, I'm loading the texture again and again, it's not changing. That can happen to me. And I made this. So yeah, behavior should be intuitive. Then if we have optimizations, at least of this kind, that can cause unexpected behavior, then we need to make them very clear explicitly. So only if you explicitly do it, then do we allow it. So in that case, well, let's run, make sure everything is fine. Cool, looks good. Things working fine. What else we have? So that's done. Set attribute away from material struct. Yes. So we have something very weird. I have no idea. I think it was something confusing. We have this function, and even the name is a bit weird. It works on a buffer. So, it kind of binds the buffer to a VAO. It enables all its attributes, all its vertex attributes. That's all it does. It has no relation to the material. The material literally has no effect on the thing. None. So why is it in the material class, right? We don't need this to be here. All of this is probably better off just as a normal function on the buffers. So buffers in here. So you set the layout, and then we just do this. That's it. And then, of course, you have some error somewhere. Where do we load the mesh? So as soon as we load the mesh, set attribute. That's it. No need, connect it. And the name is bad. Really, what's happening is we bind the buffer, which binds the VAO, and this is, another confusing thing. Buffer, you might understand well. There's a vertex buffer object, a VBO, but it's actually binding the VAO, and then the VBO we are binding independently here. So that's why I want to abstract away the concept of VAO from the VBO, and we might do this later. It's not that important. I don't want to focus on like OpenGL stuff right now for today. But the idea is, for example, if you're doing instancing or something else, which we might do later on, there are cases where you want multiple VBOs under one VAO. So I bind one thing and I have like multiple buffers already. We don't have that ability right now. At least we kind of do, but it's not easy to use. It's not easy to do. By default, it generates different VAOs and so on. You have to do things manually. Index buffers is also always generated, things like that. So instead, we should have a VAO class, and then the VAO class just has many buffers, one or more, right, or zero or more, whatever, to just give us the flexibility to do the things that we want. Now here, it's maybe we're basically using the layout to tell OpenGL, well, here's the situation. Here is the layout of the buffer. This could be part of set layout, actually. Why is it not? Yeah, this actually makes sense. We have all the buffers. Yeah, I guess so. Set OpenGL stuff. And that's it. Layout. Yeah. And we don't need this function. Nice. We don't need you. Updates the layout and objects and corresponding vertex attributes. All vertex attributes are also enabled, right? That is much better, I believe. It's so nice to clean things up, to really have a better structure, but this only comes from actually using the thing. So we have the same speed as before, and yeah, things are going nice. We don't have set layout, do we? Yeah, only when we load the mesh, it just calls that internally. So that's done. Very nice. So it's small things, but they add up. This we can keep for later. Build simple game, we're doing that. Ticket physics, so that's what we need. What's this? DT handling. Oh. Microsecond. Delta time. If it's 0, yeah, I mean, we need to do something like, well, microseconds and microseconds. Yep, needs to be divided. Yeah, okay. So that microsecond is this thing into nanosecond. Yeah, it just gives us 1. Delta time. No, we want it in seconds, right? Yeah, delta time is in seconds. Sorry. Seconds like this. Yeah, now it makes sense. And it gives us a float. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So that fixes that, I hope. I hope so. This is not a bug, I believe. Because this is the setup of the renderer. I don't think this is a bug. Because the idea is, at least later on, in render, when you tell the renderer, well, hey, take this and draw it, it doesn't actually draw it on the spot. It might keep a buffer of things to draw, it might do some batching and so on. So it's going to detect, well, okay, you gave me these things, and by the time the render function ends, I'm going to draw them, but I'm not going to draw them as soon as you call the function. And so between the time you call them and then you do something else, I don't think we expect the material values to change. They shouldn't. Only in updates or in the next frame they should change. So this shouldn't even be happening. That's how we know what to batch in the first place. If you change them before we batch them, well, that's not going to work. So yeah, I think this one we can remove. And yeah, next one. Any questions? Perfect. Right. So to confirm, so we update cache, texture load options, and let's see. Okay, so texture load options. We also did fix DT bug plus what else? Oh, remove set attribute, such an ugly function. I'm so happy we're getting rid of it. So nice. These things feel really nice to do. Do we have tags? Yes, we do. So let's tag 0. I guess 12. Let's just do that. Actually, it's just a bug fix, right? Yeah, it does have some new stuff. Yeah, let's push tags. Now we can go back, wrap up Flappy Bird, except the sounds. Sounds probably next time, maybe. Or maybe I'll try to do a stream soon. We'll see. Okay, so back to Mr. Flappy Bird. Let's close all of this. Flappy, my friend. Let's. Oh, there's one more thing that I wanted to do. GGLM, our math library, I did do a good number of updates, to make it nicer to use. And I think, yeah. And we should make nMage use it. At least so libraries using nMage can also rely on those functions. So let's just go in here and where is this? Go mod. So we rely on GGLM, and it's now on this version. So get just basically added some more functions, like, so before we had, you can get X, Y, Z, RGB, and so on from a vector. You can set the whole thing, but you cannot set one vector. So let's say you want to change the value of like X. You cannot say dot set X and then change that. You have to do set X, set all the values, and then in the X value, you get X plus something. It's just not ergonomic. But with this, now we have all of these. for all vectors. So update GGLM version to make things very clean. There we go. And we can, I guess, tag this as well so we can get it in Flappy. So Flappy will be using this version of nMage. All right. So Mr. Flappy Bird, go mode. Oh, not here. running. Oh wow. Oh, anyway, let me. So let's just go get. Perfect, and GGLM was updated as well. Nice. Oh, tidy. Everything is good. Great. Do we have bugs? I mean, broken things. It should, I think. I think, yeah. VS Code is dying again. This should, yeah, cause errors. There we go. There we go. So all set attributes, we have 8 of them. Wow. All of these we don't. All of these we don't. These are all automatic right now. Thank God. As soon as you set a layout, they happen. Very good. Okay, all of these are done. Keep the chat open. Okay. Load texture. Or what is it? New texture, was it? Load PNG texture. All right. Load PNG. Here, maybe. Wait, what? Where? Which file? Quads. Here, well, just load null. I don't want anything special. And is that it? Nope. Oh yeah. In run. It's okay. Let me just restart VS Code because what's the point? It doesn't show me all the help. Okay, finally. Thank you. What a sad situation. This program. I'm going for. Wait. dinit, right? Our Mr. dinit is capital now. And we can, I'm very happy about this. All of these are gone. So nice. Deleting code is much nicer than writing. I can tell you that. Let's see. We are initting. Should run is gone now. This is gone now. And in here, we can just do engine.quit. So by next frame, everything is bye-bye. And we should be able to run, I guess. No. Index add frame 303. What did you do? What did I do? Pipes. What? 261 playing. Why don't we have pipes? What is going on? Oh, we did remove start and init. Right. So this is not being called anymore. Let's try moving it to init, and hopefully we didn't screw anything. Frame starts. We don't have that as well. That's all gone. So we can just do game prepare init pipes. Right. There we go, and then we can do g dot init pipes. Oops. Wrong command. There we go. Nice. Everything seems good. Scoring is there. We have our score pane showing up. And we lost. Press enter to restart. Perfect. How long can I survive? So, as far as the game goes, aside from some graphics, I guess, is falling and going up. Like if you go up, you lose. And if you fall down, you lose. Maybe what we can do. By the way, do we have dot set? Yeah, so this is an example of the all system. In here, we really don't want to do anything except add to z 0.1. That's it. That's all we want to do. So I think now we have a function called add z. There you go. Perfect. And well, I just have to do this. And the function is this. Directly adds. Nice. And we completely remove the need for this. So much simpler. Set x. Well, excuse me 1 minute. I'll be back. Okay. So let's just confirm you guys can hear me. Yep. Cool. So okay, that's another case. We have set x, so we don't need all of this anymore. We just do this guy. What else? Set y. I mean, set. This one we still have to do. I don't think we have mul. Yeah, we just have add functions. Yeah. Set y. Yeah, this is setting. This is adding this. So add y. Just to simplify things. So here, like all this line is really adding 0.1 to the z. So add z. Same thing here. Add z, d, d, z, 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 s to z. Set y. Sure. One. Add z. The eating code is nice. That should be it. Oh wow. Something's wrong. Oof. Not good. Okay, see what we changed. Probably changed something I shouldn't have. But yeah. So yeah, the background init pipes, which does all the magic. Oh wait, so is this the same pipe? Oh, I think it's not. Ugh. I think it's not, is it? Oh yeah, it's not. Okay. Still not good. Let's go again. So in these ones, okay, it's on the column, that's fine. We're taking a position and then setting it on the full column, but the Z is a bit different. Set X, Y, Z. It's the same thing, RGB. Okay. Okay. So now what we want to do is, if I fall like this, I should lose. Simple as that. But I think there is like a ground. Is it called base? Oh yeah, this thing. So this we want to put on the bottom. Let's load that boy. I think all of this should just be inside the game. Hey. Sure. Okay, so let's go to the game. Where's the game? Game goes up, please. I like to put types on the top. Right. So we have the base texture. More base quad maybe. Quads or quad. Base quad. And in init, load assets. So g dot base quad base. Okay. And let's see. Where should we put it? Okay, so on the base quad, scale is the whole thing, but not on the Y. So on the X, yes, it takes the whole width, but on the height, it should take like maybe 5. It's a small amount. And then we need to position it. This thing is positioned in the center, I think. Here, let's do position read write, and well, 0 on the X, on the Y, maybe halfway. Let's see. Oof, completely non-existent. Oh, we're not drawing it. That's one thing. Playing, render, update, render. So we draw background, draw base, find this boy, and really all the meshes are the same, but sure. Let's do it. Okay, it's a start. I think the size looks okay. We'll just move it. We need to move it down actually. negative is, so 0 is centered, minus 10 is the bottom. Move it up. Move it like, let's do this. There we go. Okay, we should put it back. So background sprite is on 0. This should be on top of the sprite, so something like maybe 0.1 on the Z. Yep. Oh, but actually it should be in front of the pipes. Yeah, and smaller than the pipes. So where do we put pipes? Let's see. So pipes are positioned at 1. So let's do for this guy 1.1. Is it really in front of everything like this? Maybe. Let's see. Flappy Bird. It's a Flappy Bird. Yeah, so they're essentially like this. Okay, they come out of the ground like this. The ground does move. That's one thing. But for now, that's okay. Yeah, I think it just looks weird because the ground doesn't move. So, okay. Let's move the ground down a bit more. And otherwise, I think it's fine. Cool. And then luckily the collision is very simple since we already have that. I don't know why it lagged for a minute. Oh, we still, the pipes are going too low, that's the thing. Okay. The pipes. I think they're moving by 4. Just so they don't move that low. Yeah. So this height is good. This height, I like it. Now, where do we check? I think in updates, you can check collisions. Not really. When you're playing, we can check collisions, I guess. Pipe collisions, base collision. So if it's colliding. So if our bird is colliding with base, doesn't the quad already have a collider attached? No. Quad. So pipes do, not quads. Interesting. Okay, we can set it as a box collider. The box collider contains a quad. It's a weird setup, but yeah, we don't have game objects, so I guess that's fine. So base, it's just called objects. and then it makes a bit more sense. We have an entity, we have what is this thing? Forgot to change the type as well. It's not a quad, it's box collider 2D. So now we can access the quad, but you can also do this. So if it's colliding, well, what do we do? Things collide. We just set the state. And that's it. New box collider 2D. Box collider 2D. 1 1. Actually, no, it's not 1 1. It's more like 520. Okay. So here, well, we load it 1 1 and then see. So let's load it. We do this. And then g.baseObject.texture quad. And error, of course, is quads. Put new quad, and then we do this. Q temp Q. Okay. And quad stick. There we go. So we set the quad. Now, when we scale it, we can use the same scale. So we can do, it's not really an object. Yeah. So we scale this, and I guess quad, what's quad? Width. So width is 20, and this thing is 5. And then is colliding does what? So you take 2 box colliders and you do this. Oh, they use the position and the scale. Okay, so that's already taken care of for us. Again, that's one example of APIs being bad. I think developing on stream is harder than just doing things normally. Or maybe it's just too late. Who knows? Okay. Let's try now. So now if we touch the ground, we should lose. Look, nice. Things are good. Oops. We died. Perfect. Scoring, and I touch. Oh, because it's a bounding box, so the edge is kind of touching. Oof, this is hard. There we go. Nice. And of course, if we hit the pipe, we go. I think going up is allowed as long as we don't go like way too up. Now I'm like super up. Yeah, this is fine. For leaving, we're going way too high. I think it's enough for us to going too high to check the bird position. So if bird position dot like I don't know dot y is bigger than or equal to say 12. Nice. So going like this is fine like this, but as soon as you go a bit up, done. Perfect. And that's that. I mean, I like it. The interfaces need work, definitely. I think I kind of like the entity class. Because we have is dirty and so on. We know when we need to regenerate the model matrix, and we create it from these components. Most game engines, I think, at least the ones I saw, usually have something like this. Like if you use Unity and Unreal, they will have like position, scale, rotation, and then under the hood, when you change some of these, the model matrix is recalculated. So this is a good start, definitely. The quad is something nice, I think, as well. We don't want to load it from matrix. Honestly, we'll just create, from a mesh. We should be able to create it on the fly. Just create a buffer object, hard-coded. Doesn't make sense to load the file every time. This just doesn't make sense. But yeah, otherwise, so like this could be a sprite class. And 2D collision is good as well. Is there anything else for this game? Yeah, these are just all this test 5. You don't need colliders. I leave. To do done. Sounds. That doesn't matter here. Sounds. Well, I'll leave this for now. Yeah, I think we're done. So it took us what, 3-4 days? Yeah, maybe 3-4 hours, right? The whole thing. Pretty good, I would say. If only the bottom would move. Should we do that? Should we do something else? Yeah, we might come back just to add sounds a bit later on. Because I'm working on a new library, and it's actually kind of pretty, well ahead. It's usable, very usable. So Wavy, it's called Wavy. Use Wavy. It's MIT licensed. It should work on most platforms, and yeah, the usage should be very simple. We just say init, and then you want a new sound, MP3, WAV files, and OGG files are all supported. And then you can set a volume and play. That's it. That's all you have to do. You can wait for a sound. You can loop sounds. You can stream from a file, and all these features. So I would say very cool. It was really nice working on this, getting to know a bit about sound. So once we start integrating this, we'll actually do some things. Actually, let's update this now since it's only been an hour, maybe. But the sound, I don't want it to be too loud for you guys. Well, I will do it next time just because I want to check the sound. If you guys will hear me and hear the sound that's not too loud and so on. So we'll leave that. But yeah, you can check this out. We'll have it very soon. And as you can see, it's very easy to integrate. Nothing crazy. Yeah. So that. Let's see. So I think going forward, we can go back potentially to nMage, develop the engine itself, because there's definitely things we can improve. So build sample game, simple game, done. Entities, components, we can do camera class. Maybe we'll do the video stuff. So our keys, enums, Yeah, so like for example, audio. I mean, I know this is low priority, but hey, we have audio. Audio is done. I'm not sure if it needs to be part of the engine, because now we have a whole suite of tools that are essentially being built around nMage for the Go ecosystem. So loading files, and I have some other stuff I'm working on, like text, rendering text on the screen, things like that. But yeah, like audio is essentially done. Batching, part of doing the text rendering, which we'll maybe see one day, is at least doing instancing, right? If not some other batching. But we have kind of this. I give it asset loading. I mean, we kinda do. Oh, so one thing that's really annoying me, and maybe we can do this today, since we are just here. Shaders. So right now we have this mess where each shader, you know, vertex, whatever, is many different files. I don't like that. Like, these two should just be one file. Like right now, you put them in these two files and they should be like .frag, whatever, and then when you load them, you need to remember that to put it like this. You don't put .frag, .glsl, nothing. You just put the name. That's not a good experience. Instead, we want to combine them. So maybe, you know, the idea is, okay, we move this guy here, something like this, and we annotate. So maybe, you know, this is like Bert, something like this. Maybe a comment, just like Go, you know, stay with Go. So if you do like shader vertex, and so everything here till the end is this, and then from here we can do, well, shader fragment, and the loader will automatically detect these fragment shader, and load this as a separate shader than this. Simple loader. Let's do that. It is annoying to get these errors though. So anyway, and then you can just call simple.glsl, and that's it. That's all you do. All right, let's do this. So where do we have them? In materials, new material, there we go. Load and compile shader. Perfect. So we already have a function that does this. Shader type, we don't need this anymore. So yeah, so right now we do this mess. We don't want to do that. We don't want that. We just do, let's see, maybe this. Does this matter? Create shader. Yeah, it matters a little bit. Shader of type, right? And then let's take this guy. Load and compile. Right. So we have this. You just give us this thing. You don't give us a type. We load. And here, by the way, we can just do, well, contents, right? Shader source. We can do this. So we load the source, and what we do, let's see. So we just want to cut it. So perhaps we can split on this. Bytes dot index. So from the shader source, tell me where this thing is, please. Oh, yeah, and we can return a shader program directly. Shader program. Cool. Okay. So if we split on these, what are we going to get? We will get this guy and this guy. Okay. So let's split. Split wherever we find this thing. Shaders. Shader sources. Combined source, right? Shader sources, and you know, if len shader sources, so if there is no shader, we don't know. In that case, we give back an error. We shouldn't write. I think. So errors.new failed to read combined shader. No shader vertex or shader fragment. Okay. Now that we have this, what do we do? For all these sources, so let's create a shader program. Shader program. Take what's done here. New shader program. Okay. Is return. Yeah. Okay. So len sources, shader sources. So we can say, well, if right? If bytes dot starts prefix has prefix. So if it's starting, so since we, in this case, if we're splitting on this, what should remain is vertex here, and for this one, fragment should remain. So we can say, well, if it starts with vertex, we'll do something. Else, if it starts with fragment, we will do something else. And then we can just do, well, shader program. No, sorry. We'll call this. This will compile one shader type for us, which is S, and the type we know. Now we know this is just a fragment shader, a vertex shader. And here we'll do and this can return, of course, an error. Source, okay, shader and error. And if we have an error, then if we have an error, then shader program dots. Well, I think for now we'll do this. Otherwise, if everything is good, what we want to do is attach. Shader. That's it. Shader type. Maybe we can just do this instead. Since this code is shared, these guys are shared, I think. There's nothing unique. We can just move it out here. Just do, well, give me the shader type, fragment shader type. And in here, we will send the shader type. So every loop. So in this case, what should happen is we split this file into two files, this part and the rest. And then, what do you call it? We loop over them. So we split them. We loop over them, and then we detect for each one, like, is this a fragment or something else? And, you know, if it's a fragment, we essentially detect the type, and then we load it and compile it and then attach it. Once we're done with everything, and hopefully everything went well, link. And that should do it. And then, yeah, we return. Once we have linked, shader program. That's it. Now there is the case of, well, else we can return shader program and errors new unknown shader type. Shader type, if I can type today, must be this or this. And here does it like capitals, I think. What's wrong? Is it like this either? Okay. So this, and yeah. Now, instead of all this, shader path, here programming error, and that's what it's, I think. Let's see. We are in nMage. Oh, did we not push Flappy? Okay, let's push Flappy. So what do we have? Lose on ground or too high as latest image, right? Then let's see image. Will it compile? No, it did not. The system cannot find. All right. So for stuff like nMage, yeah. So one thing, this combined shader, what I wanted to have is b.glsl. That's definitely there. And fragment will move, and this guy I'm GUI.glsl. Here we'll do shader fragment, shader vertex, and then let's see UI I'm GUI. Okay. So .glsl. This also I would like to embed the ImGUI UI shader. Does it make sense to rely on it being there? But let's just compile for now. Let's see. New material. Okay, GLSL. Unknown shader type. Unknown shader type. Why? Oh, why? Load and compile. Maybe we'll do combined shader. And this thing, there is no loads. This is just compile, and we have a typo. Compile shader. Right. Unknown shader type. So it did not find this or this. Let's debug and see what we are getting, because we are not sure. Wait, what? It ran. It just crashed. What? Is it loading like an old version or something? Oh, it's running Flappy Bird. Oh, sorry. Debug nMage, please. This is nMage, not Flappy Bird. Okay. What's the source? 0, right? Oh, we have a 0 type. Okay. Okay. Yeah, there we go. That's our fragment. That's our vertex, like we expected. We have a 0. We don't want that. How do we avoid that? Well, we can just keep them. If len shader. Well, we can just get the source. Blend source equals 0. Continue. This can happen when the shader type is at the start of the file. Now, I mean, this is kind of stupid, but if you put this at the very end, then we won't detect it. We will not detect it's an invalid shader. This will work, this will work. But then, yeah, we need to detect. If shader program, or we can say loaded shaders, loaded shader counts 0. So every time we attach, we can say count plus plus. If loaded shader count equals 0, we should return an error. Shader program and error is not new. So what's the error? No valid shaders found. Please put these guides before your shaders. Okay. Now maybe almost. What's this? Compilation of shader with ID 2 failed. Error. Version directive must be first statement and may not be repeated. Oh. Oh, so I think what's happening is we're splitting on this, so this is what's remaining. We have like fragment as a word remaining like this. You shouldn't have. This is wrong. So how will we do that? So essentially, we want to remove the prefix. We want to remove. Well, whenever we find it, we'll assume it's on its own line. We'll just ignore the whole line. So source equals source from 1. So instead of 0, well, actually, well, we can get bytes.index. We want a new line. Well, let's do it here. So if we find this shader, right, we want to advance by how much? We want to start at 1, 2, 3. So 0 is this. 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'll start at index 6. We'll essentially skip the word vertex, right? Which is we're here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? We just skip that. And here, how long is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll skip that. That's it. We know there is at least that much. There we go. Nice. I like this very much. Beautiful. Beautiful. Right. So now we got rid of the mess of shaders that we had. We can improve things even further because I don't want nMage, at least with the current form, like as a library, to rely on any files as much as possible. You know, we have libraries, but like I don't want you to say, oh, I need a resource folder and then this structure of things, this USL. No. So this I would like to embed in the code. So in here, you can give us a shader path. What we can do is new material text string shader file shader contents shader source. Maybe we can put a comment. So what we can do is really just have this guy call combine shader source, and then here we'll give some bytes, and we'll move all of this into that. Go shader path, and then we just return load combine shader source, basically a helper function. Nope. Combine source, that's it. So we just helped you by loading a file, and yeah, the rest is the same. And this guy can use directly can use this shader source directly. So the string really is more of a wait. There we go. Why reset? Name. Oh, it's a string. That's it. Now, Mr. I'm GUI with this we can just select all this consts I'm GUI shader source, and you know, just have all this. That's it. New material from source, right? There you go. Done. Now we don't need to rely on anything. So if we load, everything will be the same, I hope. Nope, it did not. Must be so that. New material source. One calls the shader, which calls this guy. Which calls this guy, which loads. Yeah, what's the issue? Failed to create new shader program. Oof, new shader program. Unknown shader type must be blah blah. So this error is wrong. Failed to create new material. Okay. Unknown shader type. Unknown shader type. Unknown shader. So in this case, Where is this? We don't have. How come? Shader sources. What are you loading, my friend? Well, if we reach here, let's debug. And right, so we hit this. Let's now look at shader sources. This is just a new line. Oh man. And then vertex. Well, maybe we can trim them. So if bytes dot trim space, yeah. So we just make sure we trim everything. After we trim, get nothing, should be good. Right, cool. Now, what this allows us to do is finally go in and just delete Mr. Angui. So much nicer. Oh man. Oh god. There's so many improvements that we can do to make things smoother, easier to use. So this is gone. Angui has an embedded shader. All good. That's what. Okay. This guy can stay. Now we can actually put the normal name, no special rules. I think that's it. Nice. Do we not have? So I like to have if input dot key clicked SDL underscore key underscore escape. So I click escape, it's usually faster than using the mouse. Done. There we go. Cool. So what we have now is support combine shaders plus allow loading shaders from text from say textures have a similar thing, I think. So in assets, it's always good to have the ability to load from memory. Like here, what do? Well, read file, we get some bytes and decode to get image.image. Well, what if I can just pass you an image, tell you like, look, buddy, just do it. That might make sense. Like here, load PNG. Yeah, I think we can allow anything. So load texture nmem from nmem. So what we take instead is so our image is image.image. So in that case, we don't have that. We don't have caching from the path. This doesn't make sense. Loading from disk is not there, and this thing, we can immediately start from this. Well, can we use something here? No, so we don't know. So in this case, path is not defined, so we can just put a note. Path only exists for textures loaded from disk. There you go. This is gone. And I guess I like to put this like at the end. Load texture PNG. Load texture image. So you can say, well, if t dot path, we don't have a path, then this, and path is empty. Oh, sorry. If path is not empty, then only to use this. Otherwise, we can say loaded nmem texture with ID, and we can say, well, here's the ID, and this is already always there. Yeah. That's it. That's all text. Load texture PNG, load texture image. Yeah, this helps. These kind of things are very, very useful. Okay. So I think we can push this as well. Okay, allow texture loading from nmem images. That's it. All right, so I think that's a good run. Had a good session, productive today. A lot of small, nice things here and there, very important. And we'll see. I guess we'll continue next time. Maybe we'll do videos. Perhaps start working on entities and components. I'm not sure. We need to think about how do we want to structure. Do we force a structure, or like kind of at least have some things that are required for you to have in your entities and whatnot, or do we give you the bare minimum of things like, I don't know, quads and what we have right now, like loading materials, loading shaders, so on. But it's up to you how to structure them, like we did with Flappy Bird. These are kind of architecture decisions, and also how we want nMage to be. So that's something to think about still. We have low priority. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not sure. guess we'll see. Guess we will see. But yeah, either we leave it up to you and you have to create your own structure, which will make it a bit harder, or probably to make things a lot easier to develop with and for people to get started with, we will have like an entity system, you know, an entity class like we had before, all these kind of magical things. I think that's a lot better. So yeah, we'll see. So thank you everyone for coming. This will be posted on YouTube shortly. I wish you a nice week.